All right.
So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a sprint, a 10-yard sprint to one of my athletes. We're going to go over a couple different things, the breakdown of it mechanically first. The first thing what I want to do is I want to make sure the athlete knows about the arm drive or the shoulder drive because you cannot run fast if you're not pumping your arms. Your arms and your legs want to move at the same time. So what we want to do is make sure you're sound, mechanically sound up top before we start you off in the setup position. So the first thing that I want my athlete to do is go in a 90 position right here. So his shoulders are straight down and you have a bend at your arms just like this. So go ahead, athlete, just like that. Good. And now what I want you to do is with your fingers, I really want you to create some tension and open them up. There you go. So now what I want you to do is I want to eliminate any of this elbow flexion right here at this joint at all. I don't want any of this stuff. I want you just to go ear to pocket. I want you to think about that, okay? And try to, instead of going out like this, let's go ahead and ride those rib cages a little more here. Good. Without bending of those elbows at all. And it's all about the shoulder drive right now. So you see my athlete, what he's doing, he's really preparing himself to take off or for the acceleration of it and the maintenance of the actual sprint itself. So once the athlete knows about the arm drive, what I wanted him to do is get set up in the position. We set up 2 cones. There's a line in our mats that you can see, that you probably can't see, but our athlete can see. The first thing I want you to do, athlete, is go into your lunge position, whatever you feel more comfortable. If I were to just say, okay, you've got to, if I push you forward, you just got to go with your right foot or catch yourself with your left foot. Whatever one you feel more comfortable with, that's the one I want in front of the other one. So if it's the left one you feel more comfortable with, put your left foot up front and your right foot back. Okay, so left foot front, there, right foot back, and I want that knee actually behind the heel of the other one for right now. Just go ahead and move the right one back behind the heel of the left one. Just for right now, just to get your stance. Good. And now what I want to do is I want to make sure that this knee is not inside the hip. It's actually just outside the hip alignment. Good. All right. His back foot, his toes are curled up underneath him. There's some sort of dorsal flex going on right there. Very good job. Okay, so what he's going to do is he's going to line up his hands or his fingers outside of that front lead leg. So on either side of your foot, go ahead and put your hands, your thumb and your index finger on both sides just to get the setup. There you go. So I want him to feel really natural in this position. What I want him to think about is his toes, okay? So I want him to always be on the balls of your feet, and I really want you to grip with your toes and the balls of your feet into this mat, okay? Once you see that you're pretty solid, I want you to load your hip or kind of just stand that butt up a little more. Good. And I want him to feel like he's falling forward. Okay? Once he feels like he's falling forward, he can then go ahead and pick up his hand. Okay? So he's going to pick up his opposite hand. That's really good right there. Pick it up. And I want to make sure that he's really pushing his hand back or pulling his hand back with a 90-degree angle and opening up his fingers. Really good job. And you can kind of just relax right now because what he's doing is he's actually in some sort of isometric hold, and we don't want the athlete to fatigue himself, okay? So right now, he's pretty much solid. He can kind of withstand this. He's one of our high-level performance guy athletes. So go ahead back in that position where you're leaning forward, you're feeling comfortable. And dig both your feet, your toes in the ground. Your left hand is back. And really reach back there. Good. Big arm drive. And now go ahead and take off. Go ahead, take off right now. Good. So what I did is I'm going to break him down more and more. But the first thing what I want him to do is really feel the comfortability of the actual toes, driving off the toes, feeling where he should be, making sure he's not going to fall flat on his face with that lean. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the positive shin angle that we want to capture, and then that first stride, okay? That duration of that first stride with the stride length, we want to get that first stride at least 2 feet out in front of us. Now, I think when you do drive that leg forward, I really want you to reach out in front of you. Okay, when you drive that left arm front, reach out in front of you, still maintaining that 90-degree angle, but I want you to really go out in front, maintaining about 45-degree angle. Okay, so go ahead, go back and line up. So his hands are right outside of his lead foot. And now what we're going to talk about is that positive shin angle. So he's got it on that lead foot, okay? So when he does lean onto his front toe, that shin angle is a positive. It's 45 degrees. His toe is always behind his knee. That's going to make a really dramatic stretch and really get him out of that hole fast. So go ahead and load yourself up, athlete. There you go. And you can see right here this positive shin angle. He's really driving himself forward. And now what I want you to do is really reach out that left hand and take that big stride 2 feet out with that right. And go. There you go. That was actually really fast, athlete. I like that. He's using that stretch to really push himself out forward, really grasp that with the arms or the hands being opening and drive out, okay? We really want you to reach out with that first one, okay, just for the acceleration phase. So I thought that looked pretty good, actually really good. He's got a really good body angle of 45 degrees. Now with a 10-yard sprint, we want to maintain that body angle always at a 45. We're not going to go in the maintenance stage where you're upright running. We want you to stay the shin angle, the positive shin angle, your toes behind your knees, and you're going to be leaning forward, okay? So, yep. So you could actually really tell with where your body angle should be, just like what we originally said, or what I originally said, when you fall forward and you put your toe on the ground. Okay, so this next one is, I just want you to really concentrate on staying at the 45-degree angle, driving your arms as fast as you can, or your shoulders. The first one you are going to reach, and then the duration or the stride length. Now we're going to really try to maximize how less of steps, the fewer the steps or the fewer the strides, better. So we want long, dramatic strides, but without having that toe in front of that knee. If the toe's in front of the knee, we have a lot of things that are going to be susceptible for injury, like a blown hamstring, okay? So I want you to go ahead and just maintain that 45-degree angle the whole way down. I think everything's looking good, and then we'll talk about the deacceleration after this. So go ahead and load up. Now he's a very powerful athlete, so he's able to have his back foot really close to his front foot because he's able to hold himself up with his right hand on the ground. Okay, so I want him to really make sure he's going to do a lot of checks in his mind right now. The 45-degree angle, the leg cupped under, really the drive with the balls of the feet and the toes. The left arm is back, and he's really going to stride out forward and press forward. And yes, and very large strides. Okay, dramatic, large strides, keeping that body angle at 45 degrees and that shin angle as well. Okay, that's where it's at. Now I'm going to coach him about the deacceleration. The camera's going to stay right here, and we're just going to have him run this way, and I'm going to have him deaccelerate. When you deaccelerate, athlete, what I want you to do is once you hit that 10-yard mark, which is right there, we already have the cone set up, what I want you to do is break down, and you're going to change your levels, okay? You're going to change your levels all the way down, and you're going to end up into a position like this, okay? And what that does is we're really going to minimize any risk of injuries. Because just like a plane has to take off, it's got to come down, okay? Plus, like for an athlete, he has to change levels or change directions in a drop of a hat, so we want to make sure that they're prepared to do that because we have to do lateral movements as well, okay? So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have him, so you're gonna start off back there. He's set up, the 10-yard sprint. Okay, so he's back there. Go ahead, athlete, and line up.
Coach, you want me to stop before I pass the cone?
Yeah, you stop right in here. I set it up 5 yards out where that cone is right there. So that's where you're going to just start deaccelerating. And try to deaccelerate somewhere in here, minimizing any risk of injuries, and then being able to explode to the next event if you were an athlete, on-field athlete. Okay, so here we go, and go. Good. There we go. And he's coming down, and he changes his level. Very good. And now when he changes his level, can you go back in that position for me? What he's doing is he's breaking down into almost a lunge position where he's upright, and he's able to control his body. So if he's able to control his body at all time and not really let those legs go, because what happens, an on-field athlete at a drop head has to change directions, and he wants to be able to control that momentum. So stabilize himself through that mobility, okay? So we're going to do one more time with you, athlete. So he's getting set up back there, and right around here is where I want you to really deaccelerate, okay? Yeah. And go. Good. Break it down, good. And very good job. So it's very important for an athlete when he's running not only a 10-yard sprint, any kind of sprint, we want to make sure he or she knows how to deaccelerate himself him or herself the proper way, which is really good for the longevity of the sport and for the athlete. So this is my 10-yard sprint, and thank you.